What's up, guys? Today I'm bringing you a review for Persona 5 Tactica.
We've come to save you.
Who are you?
It's my duty to set you back on the righteous path. Prostrate yourself before me and die!
It seems peace isn't an option anymore. Get ready, guys!
The revolution in your heart will guide your way, will guide your way through the dark. Remember only you can.
Persona 5 Tactica is a spin-off follow-up of the Atlas hit Persona 5. Shocker. It doesn't continue the story from Royal, however, so if you fell in love with Kasumi, she's not here. Sorry. Now this is a spin-off. It does make some allusions to the original, and clearly you have all the playable characters, but it really doesn't give too much away, and they do a good job of getting you used to the Phantom Thieves. So other than a few moments where you might want some more explanation for something, or you don't understand where this character comes from, the truth is you could play this game blind, never playing Persona 5, and you'd still probably be okay. You'd have a few questions and not understand everything, but you could still play the game and be just fine. Now, this is a tactical game, a strategy RPG, if you will. So, unlike its standard turn-based combat counterpart in Tactica, you move your people or pieces around a chessboard, learning different mechanics and movesets and people's abilities and making them work to your advantage. Now, Atlas nailed the drip feed of new mechanics, adding in new enemies, level design, and more complex systems to keep combat interesting, but at a pace where it didn't become overwhelming. A lot of the enemies are just reskinned versions instead of like a completely brand new one. But it makes sense because their mechanics are very similar, and so while the reskin might just be a variation on color of the original, the primary way that you deal with that enemy is the same as each of their different colored counterparts. That, combined with myself being just a little bit older and growing up where every game just did the reskin, that didn't bother me at all. So whether that bothers you or not, that it's kind of up to you. In each world, and I won't tell you how many, I don't want to give it away, but each one brings a new mechanic and a main theme of the world. It would start simple and then get gradually more complex as you went through that world. The end boss usually used that mechanic in the most complex form and brought in, stronger enemies or whatever more, so it was a harder version of that theme. Actually, this was really well done. It gave a nice flow from one era to the next, and coupled with the variety of the win conditions and different things that happen in combat, I felt like it did good enough to where the combat never felt stale, which can be a problem in this genre. The game is fairly short as well. I finished it at about 20 hours and did most of the stuff. So the combat, at least, it really never felt like it wore out its welcome. Persona 5 Tactica handles experience well, in that everyone earns XP at the end of each battle. So you're free to try out each character or switch between them as you so desire without any fear of hoarding XP to one character or spreading it too thin and not being strong enough. There's a pretty basic skill tree. It's nothing fancy, but it does the job, and it doesn't feel padded or unnecessary. It's primarily the same for everyone with just minor tweaks. But those nuanced distinctions made it feel worthwhile to invest in a variety of areas depending on how you want each character to work. Also, if for some reason you ever feel weak, you can basically practice by playing old maps to level up or get new abilities or whatever. As it is a Persona game, you do have the Persona demons. Equipping, fusing, utilizing their abilities is both part of combat and part of character development. In Tactica, they are basically upgradable gear. You earn new ones after each battle and more if you complete the optional challenges. Now, side note, those challenges, by the way, are nothing. Like, don't get KO'd or beat it faster, that kind of stuff. I think I maybe missed one or two the entire game without really even trying for it. But I digress. As you earn personas, you fuse them together to make stronger ones, just like the original game. You, of course, can't fuse ones that are above your level. So as long as you just kind of regularly check in, fuse them up to around your level, you'll be fine. They do add some stats, which is helpful, and can give you up to 2 abilities, but I found that those mattered only on rare occasions. If you're a real min-max type, there's definitely stuff you can do with this. I'm sure you could find a way to fuse like the perfect one with the exact right moves and the stats you want, but I never felt the need to do that. Outside of main game combat, Tactica had what it called quests, and these were basically a puzzle combat encounter that forced you to learn some of the combat mechanics in a much deeper way. I actually really enjoyed these. Figuring out the puzzle and the right moves in the right order at the right time was a pretty good challenge. Some of them were really easy, while others actually were pretty difficult, and it took a while to figure them out. There was a few of them that I even had to take a break and come back the next day, and usually after that I could kind of spot the resolution pretty quickly. Towards the end of the game though, I was done. I didn't care and I didn't want them anymore. So personally, I could have gone with a few less, but honestly, they're completely optional, and they give you extra points towards character skill trees depending on which challenge it is. They're just extra, so there's no real reason to cut them down, but I was done before they were. Outside of combat, you have main story and kind of side skits in between main story bits. The story started pretty slow to me. I was ready to check out before the first world was over, but once I pushed through that, I actually found the main storyline very compelling. The growth of the characters and the unfurling of their life and experiences actually had me very invested. I don't want to give anything away, so I'm trying to be careful here, but I will simply say I think it's worth your investment. The Phantom Thieves are kind of a help in this, so it's not so much their growth, but you are going alongside these other characters and watching them grow and hearing their story is very, very good. However, the small kind of banter stuff and a lot of the dialogue I found kind of obnoxious. I came in already loving these characters, so it also could feel very different if you haven't played the original games, but I grew tired of having nearly everyone have to say something on every single issue or moment. The topic or joke might not be bad on its own, but it took too long and too many mouths to finish it. If they could sharpen up that dialogue and maybe pull back a little, not all of it, but just a little bit, and let go of some of the kind of cringe jokes they use, I think it could be a far better experience. Maybe even replace it with some mini game type stuff, like darts or pool or even fishing or something. But I found myself fast forwarding and skipping some scenes altogether just because I could tell they had already finished the main story stuff and it wasn't going to give me any more. It was just the banter. Some people might love that, so that might be a very, me thing. It's spoken out loud, but there's also, the speech bubble at the bottom, and you can kind of skip through it pretty quickly, or you can just skip the whole scene altogether. You can fast forward it, and that actually goes so fast it's hard to even read them. So, you can kind of figure that out for yourself. I just wanted it to be tighter. I'm sure each person that will vary their experiences there, but But for me, it grew a little tighter. A few little things, and the truth is we'll kind of wrap this baby up. First, music was fantastic. Expected maybe with Persona as known as for music as it is, but it still shouldn't be neglected just how great the soundtrack is. There are some real bangers on there, great combat music, boss music's good, chill hangout music, all of it was superb. Second, art style was actually pretty solid. It's not my personal favorite, but I'm glad it wasn't the full chibi look with the giant freaking heads. Now, I apologize if you like that art style. I just can't stand that. But yeah, I thought it looked pretty good. They still were very stylish. The menus still had cool looks to them. It was good art. Lastly, voice acting was superb. I mean, you can't say enough good things about the voice talent here. They were great in P5, and I believe it's the same cast. If not, it's mostly the same, but they were great. Overall, at first, I didn't care much for this game, but it really grew on me. And honestly, I'm really glad I played it. I really did end up enjoying the story. If I were to do it again, I would have started skipping some of the context earlier, and I think I would have enjoyed it quicker. But it took a little too long to kind of get into the meat of the story. But if you can push through and get there, I really do think it's worth a play. I really did enjoy the story and the growth of the characters. It's nowhere near the best game of the year, especially in a year like this, but it is a solid, probably B or B+ RPG nonetheless. And that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the dislike if not. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got videos coming out every Thursday. And with all of that said, thank you so much for watching and good hunting.